You're probably watching the replay now. So let's just get started. Before I jump right into the presentation, I want to introduce myself because I don't know where you guys got the link from, but my name is Audrey Flores Amaya, and I am the creator of the Then Came Broadband blog. Today's presentation is talking about automation strategies with digital marketing. But before I get into it, let me explain to you how we ended up here. I moved from New York to the beautiful island of Roatan, Honduras in 2011. I lived there for 11 years and I learned so many things. One of the things I learned was how effective digital marketing was in growing my business. And if it wasn't for me implementing digital marketing strategies, I wouldn't have been able to sustain myself financially while I was living on the beautiful island. So now that I am back in New York, well, back and forth, I continue to be an advocate for implementing digital marketing strategies into your business and just leveraging. One of the main reasons why small businesses or businesses in general, sometimes they do not reach the same potential as other businesses isn't because of lack of skills or education or money, although sometimes, yes, that has something to do with it, but there are tools available, digital tools available to everyone in the world, and certain people use it, some people don't. So this is available to all of you, and so I'm going to just share that with you guys, share some automation strategies. So before we jump right into it, I like to put a disclaimer out there and talk about holistic digital marketing, because to me that is the goal. Right now we're focusing on one part of it, but because I have a digital marketing background and I've used a couple of different tools, I know that ideally what you want is a digital marketing strategy that incorporates several factors, and that all depends on your business and what the needs of your business are. So if you implement what I'm teaching you today, I know it's going to help you. I know it's going to help you save time and money, but if you do not implement things as a website, search engine optimization for your website, having a platform where you and your teammates can share content that you're creating, for example, your email strategies, there's so much. And you don't have to do everything, but focusing on one thing isn't the ideal plan. So that's what I mean by first things first, is think about your digital marketing needs in a holistic point of view, a macro point of view, right? So let's jump right into it. Today we're going to cover why automation matters, tools for content creation, tools for client relationships, and real-world applications, right? Now, why does automation matter? Simply put, automation saves you time and money. It makes your business more efficient because if you sit down and analyze the patterns in your business or the tasks that you do over and over again, you realize that if I'm doing this over and over again, there has to be a way to automate this. There has to be a program out there to automate it. And most of the time, that is true, right? So what is content automation? Simply put, it is a way to use tools or software to create, share, or organize things like emails, posts, or videos, so people don't have to do it all by themselves, right? So just think about the people who you follow on social media, different businesses, different influencers that you follow on social media. Some people are posting 3 times a day. People are posting daily. And those of you who have a 9-to-5, or even if you work for yourself and you have family, I know so many people who reach the point where they say, I don't have time for this. How can I keep up with posting every day? And so content automation allows you to automate your content, right? Take your different content creation strategies and automate certain parts of it. So today I'm going to focus specifically on the social media content, right? And so let me give you 3 examples of 3 different content creation platforms that people use to automate their social media content. The first one is Hootsuite. The other one is Buffer. And lastly, Facebook has something called Meta Business Suite, where they allow you to schedule content to Facebook and Instagram together. So let's go through each one. Hootsuite and Buffer are pretty much the same thing, where you can have all of your social media platforms, or some of them. Hootsuite and Buffer, if you go on their website, they have a list of the social media platforms that they allow you to post to, right? So let's say you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have TikTok, you have Instagram, and you want to post to each of those platforms. Now, without any of these tools, you will go to Facebook, type post, right? You will go to your Twitter, type post. The same thing with TikTok and any other platform that you have. If you time yourself of how long that takes, and you do it every day, and let's say people are posting 2 times a day, that is a lot of time that you're using to post. But you know you're doing it because you know this is important, and you're right. Being consistent with posting content is super important. Creating content is super important, but so is your time, right? So Hootsuite and Buffer. Hootsuite is a social media management platform, and it allows you to not only schedule your post, but also monitor and analyze the post. And it goes across different platforms, right? Buffer is the same, but Buffer also has a really good aspect, or a really good part of it if you have teams or you have a small business, right? Now, Facebook Meta Business Suite only allows you to post to Facebook and Instagram. If you have multiple social media platforms, using one of these, you can schedule your post, or even if you want to post the same day, you can use these platforms to send out one post to 3 or 4 different platforms at the same time. So the examples I have are Hootsuite, Buffer. Meta Business Suite is specifically for Facebook and Instagram only. And I'm going to show you a 1-minute video to just give you a visual. I'm going to show you a 1-minute video to give you a visual of Hootsuite. All right, so I'm going to share my other screen just so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about.
You can also upload an image or a video for your post. You can then click on the Customize for each network button to tailor the post for each social network that you're sharing it to. You'll then be able to adjust the post for each type of social account, which helps to make your strategy more authentic and tailored to the network you're sharing to. In addition to images and videos for each social network, you'll also be able to add link attachments to Facebook or LinkedIn posts. If you're posting to Instagram, you'll have a few additional options such as first comment, shop grid, and location tagging. We'll chat about these features in detail in another video called Using Instagram with Buffer. In the upper right side of the composer, you can select which campaign you'd want to associate with this post. We'll chat more about campaigns in another video called Working with Campaigns in Buffer. So if you aren't sure what campaigns are, don't worry. You can also add mentions to posts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For Facebook and Twitter, simply type the @ symbol and start typing the first few letters of the account you'd like to mention. Matching results will be returned, and you can click on the page you'd like to include. For Instagram, it will be necessary to type in the exact handle of the account you wish to include, since we're not able to auto-complete the mention due to API limitations. I do want to note that it's not possible to mention Facebook personal profiles, only Facebook pages. Additionally, it's not possible to mention Facebook pages if you're posting to a Facebook group. In addition to adding tags and mentions, it's also possible to include hashtags in your posts for any social network, and they will be hyperlinked once published. For Instagram, you might like to use our hashtag manager in a first comment. Feel free to learn more about this in our video entitled Using Instagram with Buffer. So once your post is ready, you'll have a few scheduling options. Add to queue, which is the default option. If you select this option, your post will be added to the next available time slots from your posting schedule, which usually means it'll be placed at the bottom of your queue. We recommend going with this option whenever possible, as it follows your preset posting schedule. Share next. This option means that your post will be saved at the top of your queue, and it will be the next one to be published. Other posts in your queues will be bumped down one time slot. Share now means that the post will be published immediately, essentially skipping the queue. And then scheduled posts gives you the option to choose a custom date and time in the future for the post to be shared. We'll go ahead and click on the Add to Queue to send this post to the next available time slot in the queue. All right,
Okay, so let me go back to presenting the slides. All right, so this, as you can see, pretty much she said it, you can post to multiple social media platforms at the same time. Now, this is where your needs as a business, you need to understand what your needs are, because some of these platforms, they don't have the same how can I say, the same features as if you were to post directly from the platform. To give you an example, on TikTok, for example, if I want to post a TikTok and attach a certain song to my post, if I use Buffer, I don't have the option to pick the song. Or also on TikTok, they give you the option of putting like a red square on the picture of your post or your reel. And they have different options where you can put like basically the main idea of what your post is. Those options aren't available on Buffer. So like I said, each platform, you have to know what features they have that you need, right? But the long story short, it does help with saving time as far as posting, because you're able to post to multiple platforms at the same time, right? So let's move on. So here's an example of a social media post automation. So the first thing you do, you sit down and you have 14 different post ideas, and you use whatever you want to use to organize it. You use your hashtags. That's actually another lesson for another day. But let's just say you have your organized list of posts that you want to send out, right? Next, you have to put it into your scheduler. And in this example, we're going to use Hootsuite. Hootsuite or Buffer, they give you the options of scheduling it, and you can just choose the dates, add your pictures, add your videos, your hashtags, and then it goes out. Now, my favorite part about these platforms is you want to always analyze your efforts, and most of these platforms give you the option to analyze the reports. So let's say you want to do a report of 30 days of your social media posting, which post got the most engagement, which post got the least engagement, and that's going to tell you a couple of things and help you to adjust your social media strategy as your business grows, right? So before we move on to the next one, I do want to emphasize that although automation is great, right? Let's say you have 30 days of content scheduled, that's great. But the problem with automation and artificial intelligence, AI, is that it takes away the human effect. It takes away the emotions many times from the messaging that you're trying to put out. And so I always say it's great to have 30 or 14 or whatever amount of posts created. and you can schedule, let's say for Christmas, you want to put a Christmas post out. That's great, but always leave room for relevant current events. So if you're in the health and wellness industry, for example, and there's been a recall on a famous vegan food, for example, and everyone is going crazy about it, you want to do a live or make a post specifically talking about that. But if you already had your post scheduled for 14 days, some people might say, but I already scheduled something, I'm not going to post. And that is a mistake, because you want to also be relevant and engaging. So if people are talking about something that's relevant to your niche, then you also want to get on it, right? Post it as soon as you can. But this is great for life happens. So if there's an emergency, you get sick, you're out in the hospital, for example, it would have been great for you to comment on that post that was relevant to your niche, to that food recall, but you're laid out in the hospital bed or you're in pain. But guess what? Because you use Hootsuite or Buffer or a social media automation platform, at least you know that there's some content going out for your business on that day, right? So let's move on to, so that's content creation. That was content creation automation, right? There's so much more to that, but that's another lesson for another day. And so we're going to move on to something that's called customer relationship automation. And simple definition, right? A way to remember all the important things about your customers for you. It helps you send them messages, follow-ups, or reminders automatically, so you can stay in touch without doing everything yourself. So in a business, it's important for you to build relationships, right? And there are certain things that you do to get to that. You're not just going to say hi to somebody one day and the next day they buy your product. There are steps that have to be taken to get to that point. Well, thank God for technology. There are so many platforms out there to automate what you've been doing for years manually, right? So before we get into the platforms, I want to give you an idea of when would you apply this to your business. So converting a lead to a client. When someone goes on your website and they fill out a form, okay, they filled it out, then what? After they fill out that form, what do you want your customer to do next? Now, a lot of us just manually send out emails. Some people don't do anything. Someone fills out a form. They got a free video or free ebook, for example. That's great, but don't let your lead die just there. There are other things you can do, and so you can automate that. You download my ebook, and then I want you to do X, Y, Z. Right? Following up after a consultation or a meeting. So you had a very successful meeting. There was no decision made there. Maybe the meeting was just to give information, but you want to follow up with asking if they have any referrals. How did they like the meeting? What they didn't like? You don't have to write them, each person. Imagine if you had 30 people or 100 people, how long would it take you to manually call or send an email to 100 people who went to your meeting? When there's a way where you can write one general email and just have it sent out immediately after your meeting. Reminding clients about an upcoming appointment. I see this a lot happening in the health field. So now with your appointments, I get a text message every time. It's a week before my appointment. I get a text message saying, do you want to cancel your appointment or reschedule your doctor's appointment? You think that the secretary or the administrative assistant is actually manually sending out these emails and these texts? No, they're using a system that has all of the information of their clients, and there's a way to know, oh, I'm going to send out reminders to everyone who has a doctor's appointment with Dr. Navarro on December 1st. So to everyone coming to Dr. Navarro on December 1st, we're going to send a reminder email 1 week before. And so everyone who's scheduled 1 week before will receive that automatic reminder. Right? Checking in with inactive clients. You have platforms that will let you know, let you do a report. I want a report of all of my customers who haven't bought one product in the past 6 months or in the past year. So they give you this email list of people who haven't bought anything for you. So now you have this list where you can create an email or send or make a phone call to everyone with whatever it is you want to send them, right? Keeping clients informed about updates or offers. You know, one of the reasons why McDonald's and Burger King and these long-standing fast food chains still exist, or even like sneakers lines, different products or services or businesses that are long-standing, they change with the times. And so their messaging changes, they have new products, they keep things fresh, right? So you can draft an email. If you have a new product every 3 months, you can send out an email blast to everyone announcing your new products, right? Feedback after a purchase or a service, we went over that. Building long-term relationships. This is really great for fundraising. Specifically for, like, if you have donors, right? And you have people who give every year, especially at the end of the year. You have platforms that allow you to create a report of everyone who donated in December 2023. And you're gonna send them first Merry Christmas, and then you can send them a reminder to give their donation before the end of the year. So those are all different reasons or different scenarios where you would want to use a customer relationship management system. So this is the technical word. I didn't want to go straight to technicalities, but we're talking about CRMs, customer relationship management systems. And these systems all allow you to do exactly what I just told you. And the system you decide to use depends on the size of your business. It depends on what things you're automating. You don't want to take, for example, if you're a small business or you're a freelancer, you don't need something like, let's start with what we have here. The first one you see here is HoneyBook. The second one I have here is Zoho. And the third one is Razor's Edge. HoneyBook is really great for people who are freelancing, people who are solopreneurs. It's very user-friendly, it's simple, and you can create simple automations, right? You don't want to be a freelancer and say, I'm going to take Zoho because they have all of these great tools and stuff. You don't need half of what Zoho has to offer. You're just going to get overwhelmed. So you can stay with HoneyBook. Razor's Edge is specifically for nonprofits. And so if you're a large nonprofit, like, I wouldn't even suggest Razor's Edge to a nonprofit that's just starting. But let's say you're mid-size, mid to large, it's great, because with Razor's Edge, you're able to get specific information about your donors and have their profiles all with as much details. I mean, the names of their granddaughters, the names of their daughters. I used to work in fundraising, so I saw how aggressive the person who's in charge of the donors or the fundraising campaigns, they want these details because they want to know who just had a baby, right? So we're gonna do a search on Razor's Edge about all of the donors who had a baby this year, and we're gonna send them, let's say, a gift card to Babies R Us, for example. That's all part of them. Their interest and what they're doing is they're cultivating relationships with donors. And so that's why with Razor's Edge, you're able to put so much detail, because you never know what the nonprofit is going to use or which details they're going to use to nurture those relationships, right? With Zoho, it's really great if you have a team. So with HoneyBook, you're a freelancer, right? And I'm gonna give you specific examples between HoneyBook and Zoho. right? So you can understand at what levels you would change or upgrade from a freelancer CRM to a larger business CRM. So in this particular example, I'm going to use HoneyBook and Zoho, but there are more platforms out there, right? So for the HoneyBook automation, let's think about a freelance photographer in New York. And so this freelance photographer, he's by himself, but he does certain things all the time. He books his clients for individual shoots all over New York. And so he wants to automate his client onboarding and payment reminders because these are steps that he does all the time. Someone wants to book. All right, I'll send them my packages. They have to pay. I got to send them an invoice. So those two simple steps are things that you can automate because you do it all the time. So here is a sample HoneyBook automation sequence. The first one. Okay, Yolanda, I'll send you the replay, no problem. So here is the HoneyBook automation sequence. First one is lead capture, right? So a potential client fills out a form on the photographer's website. So he has this beautiful website and he has a section that says, send me your information if you want to book a session with me. Okay. I go in, Audrey, my name is Audrey Flores Amaya. I put all the information and I send it to this photographer. Now, HoneyBook is going to automatically send a thank you, right, with a booking link. So you're going to receive that booking link and then I'm able to book. Now, the photographer didn't have to send me the link. It just went out automatically, right? After I book, then the client is going to receive, so you select a date and pay for a deposit, right? All of that. You select the date, you pay for a deposit, and then HoneyBook sends a confirmation email with a summary of the booking details and a link to the contract, right? So all of that, I didn't have to stop, drop, and roll to do that. HoneyBook took care of all of that, right? So now it's 7 days before the photo shoot, right? I can HoneyBook will allow me to say 7 days before this scheduled photo shoot, I want to email a checklist to make sure my client knows what to wear or whatever details I need for them to remember. It's going to include a calendar invite, and that calendar invite is synced with my client's schedule and with my schedule, right? Now, 3 days before the photo shoot, I want to send my client a reminder that the last payment is due. So I don't send it, HoneyBook sends the reminder and also includes a payment link. Then it's the day of the photo shoot, everything goes well. The day after the photo shoot, HoneyBook will automatically send a thank you email with a gallery preview link and an option to leave a review or refer a friend, right? So my client gets the thank you. He gets a digital copy of the photos that we took, and referrals are everything. So if you could send out the referral and you never know, you might get more business. The point is, all of this could have happened while I was taking my kids to school, while I was taking a course to improve my photography skills. All of this happened while I was working with another client, right? I didn't have to stop, drop, and roll to do all of these things because HoneyBook took care of that for me. Okay? Now, let's say this is Zoho automation. Excuse the typo. Let's take that same photographer He worked so hard. He's been given excellent work and his business grew. So now he has a studio with multiple services. He has a team of 10. He's in the tri-state area, right? And so now he's managing teams, right? He's assigning tasks. He's delegating. So I want you to understand that the needs of automation of this photographer evolved. So when he was using HoneyBook, it was more about the need for him to streamline someone who fills out a form on his website, book a session, pay for a session, send them reminders, and then a thank you, right? That happens. So that's great. But imagine now that his business has grown, he's getting, instead of getting 1 or 2 of these a day, now he's getting 10 a day. Now in 1 week, he has 70 of these, right? But he has a studio in New Jersey. He has a studio in New York. He has a studio in Connecticut. So this photographer is going to get flooded with 70 emails or 70 lead capture, 70 questionnaires that people signed up. It's too much for him. I mean, he can do it, but how long will it take for him to get through all those 70 manually? So now the need for automation changed. So now what he needs is, he needs for HoneyBook, he needs for the system or the platform, the automation platform, to take all of those questionnaires and separate them. I want New York to go to my New York regional manager. I want all of my New Jersey leads to go to my New Jersey regional manager. And I want all of my Connecticut leads to go to my Connecticut regional manager, right? So instead of having 70 emails, instead of having 70 emails inside of his inbox, now he's able to have just, let's say, 10 emails in his inbox. And this photographer can focus on all of the emails that have come into just to New York. So now his New Jersey director is dealing with New Jersey, and his Connecticut director is dealing directly with Connecticut. All right, let's continue. So the needs of this photographer have evolved, right? So let's go over an automation sequence for this photographer who grew from a freelancer with 1 to 2 bookings a day to this big time photographer with studios in the tri-state area. He has a team now. So his automation sequence has changed. And that's why instead of using a platform like HoneyBook, now he's using a platform like Zoho, right? So number 1, lead management. So he gets the client inquiry submitted on the website of the studio. That's the first one, right? Then, okay, hold on. I just muted you, Albert. Okay, so it goes into the website. Now the Zoho CRM is going to assign that to the person in the company that's dealing with that particular inquiry. So that's the example that I gave you earlier. New York, go to New York. Connecticut goes to Connecticut, right? So after that, you need to send the client a quote and a contract, right? So that person, the Connecticut director, is going to send a customized quote via Zoho, because in Zoho, you're able to customize all of that. If the client approves, Zoho is going to automatically generate an email with the contract and an e-signature for the person to sign. So once the contract is there, once the contract is there, then you have to assign the tasks, right? So his team is growing. So now he probably has a makeup artist. He probably has like 2 or 3 other photographers. So once Zoho has this booked session, it's going to send out schedules and emails to the team members who are in charge of dealing with this particular customer. So you don't have to worry about calling XYZ. No, they wake up and they see in their email, we have this customer and this is what I have to do. And Zoho automatically sent that out, right? So it's 3 days before the photo shoot. So 3 days before the photo shoot, Zoho is going to send the client a reminder email with the location details, parking instructions, and is going to send notifications to the team to confirm that everything is set up. So there's probably a checklist that his team has to go through. Well, now he can send a checklist directly to his team members, and at the same time, send a reminder email. At the same time, he can send a reminder email to the customer. So you have the customer and you have the head of his departments with all of the checklists they need before their photo shoot session the next day, right? So now the photo shoot session is done. It's the next day. The client is happy. We want to send a thank you email, right? So Zoho is going to trigger a sequence. Zoho is going to see, oh, the date of the photo shoot is done. So now I'm going to send a thank you email. I'm going to send a survey to get some feedback, because now that this photographer grew, it's important for him to adjust his business based on the feedback of his growing clientele. So in order to streamline that, every time he has a session, he's going to automatically send this feedback survey to his clients, right? And he's also going to offer a discount because he could afford to do it now, right? He's this big time photographer. So now he's also going to send a discount for their next session. And all of this was sent out without the photographer having to do anything and without anyone on his team having to do anything. And lastly, the client is added to his mailing list for newsletters and seasonal promotions. So now, whenever, if he has, let's say, Thanksgiving is coming up, right? We have a special for Thanksgiving, a family special for Christmas. Now you have this client, he's already in your email list. You don't have to go and look, oh my goodness, how many clients did I serve last Thanksgiving or last Christmas? Nope. You have a tool called Zoho, which will allow you to say, hey, I need a report of everyone who booked before Christmas last year, right? December 1st, last year, 2023. And now you're able to send an email to those same people without having to go through paperwork or emails. Everyone is there, right? So yeah, this is the automation sequence, right? So I know I just said a lot. Roxy, thank you for joining. I had some technical issues earlier, so some people weren't able to join, but I am going to send the entire presentation to everybody, okay? This is pretty much the end of it. So I said a lot, right? I said a lot. I use a lot of vocabulary you're probably not familiar with, but the whole point of this webinar today is to stress the importance of automating or implementing automation into your business, not only to save you time and to save you money, but to also nurture relationships, because following up is a job, right? Someone says, if someone expresses interest in your business, it's not easy to get them from someone who just clicks on your website to a client. You want to take that person from a person who viewed the website to a lead, right? So someone who submitted a form saying they're interested. Now you want to grow that relationship to a warm lead. A warm lead is somebody who's actually going to pick up the phone if you call, or someone who's actually going to reply to your email. And then finally, that person will become a customer. That doesn't happen overnight. And it's a person who's just getting started with business. If you're a solopreneur, if you're a freelancer, if you're doing 10 different things in your businesses, I know there are things that you're doing over and over again that you can just replace your physical body with these automation strategies, right? So what's next? You don't need everything, right? You do not need all the platforms. And even if you decide to use a platform, you may not need all of the features that they have. But sometimes I know it's difficult for someone to understand what it is that they need. So this is why I am offering my consultation services. And this will be to basically help you answer 3 questions. What automation platform is needed for your business? That's number 1, because what a photographer might need isn't the same thing that a nonprofit person might need, or a hairdresser, or someone who's in real estate, right? So Zoho or Honeybook might work for you, but it's not going to work for another person. But how can you decide which platform is best for you? I can help you do that. How can I start with a small budget, right? I understand times are hard, and many of us are freelancing. We're solopreneurs. I'm not going to tell you to go get the CRM that costs you $300 a month to use, right? More than likely, if it costs $300 a month to use and you're just starting, you don't need half of what the features are available in that, right? And number 3, which part of my business or content creation needs to be automated? I feel like if you just stop and think about and write down, what do you do in your business over and over again? And let's separate it. Let's talk social media, 1, and then 2, let's talk about running your business and your relationship with your clients. In those 2 scenarios, there are things that you do over and over again. I know there are situations where you're like, man, I wish I remembered the last conversation I had with this client, because I know they just had a baby and I want to send them a discount card or say thank you. But where do I have that information? You know, I know there are many instances where you just wish you remembered or you knew something and you don't, right? So you need to just sit down and write, what are those things that you do over and over again? Or what are those things that you wish you could just automatically know? And that is going to help you decide which platform you should get. And more important than the platform, because I can give you Honeybook, I can give you Zoho, whatever. But in order to make or create these automations, you need to provide information to these platforms. So what is the questionnaire that the person is going to fill out, right? So Zoho or Honeybook is not going to create it for you. Although, let me put a disclaimer out there, and that's why I'm offering these consultations, because every need for each business is different. Using artificial intelligence, using AI, you can use that to help you create the content or the templates that you're going to input into these things. So things like questionnaires. So a questionnaire could be the first step to you connecting with a client, right? Someone, if you're in real estate, you have a questionnaire asking them what area interests you the most, what is your budget. If you know you ask those questions all the time, just create a questionnaire, put it on your website, right? But you can use AI to help you create a list of those questions. Do not depend on AI, however, because AI is only as smart as the information you put into it. So if you ask AI for a questionnaire for real estate, for example, it's going to give you a generic answer. But if you know in your real estate company, you have a specific question, then that AI is not going to know. So you're going to use AI, but always put your personalized touch, what you know your business needs, right? So you're gonna put that, create those questionnaires. Sometimes you have things like the feedback surveys. You don't want to keep going into your Google files. Or some of y'all are not even using Google files, right? We're all over the place, right? But you know that you want to send a survey every time you complete a service. Excuse me. I'm in New York, guys. You can hear the sirens, right? Typical. Anyway, so you know every time you finish, you complete a service, you want to send out this survey. Hey, just write it down. My whole point is, before you decide which platform you're going to use, write a draft of all the things that all of the content that you want to automate, right? So now with the social media, if you know that you want to send a post for every holiday, even if you don't have to, even if you don't write a 14-day post content calendar, for example, but you know, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for New Year's, you know for a fact you want to send out a post, write it down. And then you go to those platforms that I mentioned, or whichever one you want to decide, and just put it there. So again, you might not know what to use or how to use it, and that's why I'm making myself available to you guys to help you create these automation strategies that will help you to grow your business, right? And again, I just want to bring this full circle. I mentioned it in the beginning. This is one part of your overall digital marketing strategy. And because I have a digital marketing background, I am an advocate for the holistic approach. When I say holistic, I mean you need to do things that will help you grow in all aspects of your online presence. So yes, I can give you a great automation strategy for your social media and also for building relationships. But if you don't have a website, if you don't have a brand identity, like the fonts and the logos that you're going to use, if you don't implement search engine optimization, then you're not taking full advantage of your online presence. And this is one of the biggest differences between a small business or a freelancer and a larger business, a mid to large size business. The freelancer could very well be giving better service and be more skilled than the big business. But the big business has a budget to invest into marketing and implement all of these strategies. But all of these strategies are available to everybody, right? So let's take advantage, because the same thing that large company is doing, you have the opportunity to do it as well. I'm just here as I like to call myself like the digital marketing medium, right? I'm the middleman that I'm going to hear what your business needs. And I know what is out there as far as digital marketing and all these platforms. And I just come in the middle and suggest this, and that, and help you to create the plan, right? So I think that is it for me. If you have any questions,